I don't know.
This, by staying in this mainstream, you consent to being live streamed. Anyone with access to the live stream can watch or share with others.
Good to know.
We are now on. Greetings from New Orleans, Louisiana, and somewhere in Virginia.
And bumfuck Egypt, Virginia.
Postal code BFE, huh?
That's right. On the other side of the Amish.
We're on, folks. BFE, Virginia, and NOLA, N-O-L-A in Louisiana. Anyhow, Jessica has had an exciting week. She went to a gun show yesterday. And as you of an Antifa persuasion will know, she is a convicted gun offender. And so she wanted to go around and tell everybody that they were gun offenders too. And that made for a very interesting confrontation. Well, tell us what happened, Jessica.
So what I've learned as far as the Second Amendment individuals, that no one ever seems to care, like all these grassroots organizations and people that say, well, I'm so pro 2A and blah, blah, whatever. Well, they don't seem to care about laws. All they care about is when it affects them personally. And that is obviously an issue because what people do is they wait around too long to let it affect them. What we should do is stop it in its tracks before it becomes an issue, obviously. And so it's a proven fact that once you lose one right, it's very hard and sometimes impossible to get back. So we must take control of the scenario and obviously fight back before it becomes an issue. So anyway, as everyone knows, or whoever, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. So in October of 2019, I went to Pittsburgh, North Carolina to see a Confederate memorial. I was waiting for two friends. They were late, of course, and when they finally arrived, one indicated to me that he needed to get something to eat to take his medication, and the other one was getting camera equipment so that we could get to the monument. Now, the question I ask, do three people walking up to a monument to take pictures of it, just like everyone who goes into a new state they've never been, and they pull off to the side of the road and they see the sign that says, "Welcome to North Carolina. All right, kids, everybody get out right now. Let's go in front of this sign and take a picture of the sign with everybody in front of it to say that we have been to North Carolina." So we were basically doing the same thing. We were basically like tourists. I'd never seen the monument before, and they were going to take it down, despite the North Carolina law that protects the monument from being removed. But obviously, as we can see more and more, these laws are only meant for regular citizens. They're not meant for legislatures and board of commissioners and all the local governments to uphold. So anyway,
first let's welcome Jerry. He just joined us.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, where's the dog at? There's the dog. There. Okay.
Dylan is over there.
Jessica's telling her life history right now.
Okay, yeah. So when we had decided that we were going to the monument, Jeff went ahead and the other person was getting their equipment together. And of course, then I went to my pickup truck, grabbed my firearm and slid it into the molded holster that was already on my belt. And then I got a flag, draped it over my arm, and then of course had a coffee in my hand. It was that damn Starbucks coffee. So anyway, then I proceeded straight from my pickup truck to the road to cross the highway, as the body cam footage of the police officer would indicate. All the officers said that they seen me when I went back to my vehicle to retrieve something. They don't know what I retrieved. And every one of them said that, no, we did not see a gun. So obviously, they proved that I was telling the truth. But I was still found guilty in the courts because they were convinced that the district attorney had went to a general dictionary, not the black law dictionary that the law uses.
And Jerry, not the Bouvier Dictionary of 1839 either.
Do what?
And not the Bouvier Dictionary of 1839 either.
Oh, okay.
So they went to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and they pulled from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, not entry number 1, not 2, and not 3, but number 4 that would fit more precisely his agenda. And it said in there something to the fact of a group of feeling or showing of a group of feelings. I'm going to actually pull that up and read that straight. So give me a second. You're not going to see my video. Hold on a minute. As long as you can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. Let's see here. So in the district attorney's evidence, he put in there the definition of a demonstration, which is not defined in law. It is not written in this law.
Jessica, are you trying to share this? We can't see anything right now.
I don't know how to share it, actually. I don't know how to do it.
There's a share button on should be a share button on your screen. And you should be able to share because I've authorized you to share, but you have to hit the screen button so we can see what you're doing.
I'm looking. I don't know how to do it. Crap. Let's see. Man, you have to make this crap hard. I sent it to you on an email or on Telegram, so you find it.
What?
But anyway, it says on there the one that he used was a public display of group feelings towards a person or cause. So I actually, with that in mind, okay, well, let me go back. Let me see. Can you still see me or whatever? Huh?
No, we can't see you. You've blocked yourself out and put nothing in your place.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
No,
So the law reads, the Pacific law reads, GS 14277.2 prohibits the possession of firearms and other dangerous weapons at parades or demonstrations on public property, any public place owned or under the control of the state or any of its political subdivisions to willfully and intentionally possess or have immediate access to a dangerous weapon. And so with this in mind, Pittsburgh or Chatham County, the same locality that actually arrested me.
Can you send me what you got? Because I can't look through the Telegram right now. Otherwise, if you don't want to, I'll give you the definition of demonstration in Bouvier, which a friend.
Okay, hold on.
You're hard to hear, Charles.
Huh? Yeah, I'm hard to hear because Jessica said I was fine.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you just fine.
Can you hear me any better now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm sending this to you to Telegram, okay?
Okay, and while we're waiting on you, I will share the Bouvier definition of demonstration. Jerry and I have been told that this is the only way to truth.
Okay, those are the two, the definition to the law and also the definition to demonstration. So let me get back to, where the hell is it?
Can you see Bouvier?
I can't see anything right now. Oh, here we go.
Jerry, have I put Bouvier on the screen?
Okay, there we go. I can't see that. Read it because I can't see it. My eyes are really good, but I can't see that crap.
Okay, hang on. But I'm trying to share and I'm not.
So what
succeeding.
is that? That's a law dictionary, I guess.
Can you see mine? Can you see what I'm sharing?
I can see it, but I can't read it. It just looks like a bunch of crap on there.
Can you see it, Jerry?
Yes, I can see it. I trying to make the thing get bigger, but I don't know how.
Okay, hang on. Let me try to figure out what's going on, because on my screen it doesn't show that I'm sharing. Is that better? I just made it bigger here.
No. Well, hold on. Wait. Okay. Wait. Stop. Okay, go down some. So I can't really. Oh, too much. All right, now go down so I can actually see it. Okay, so whatever is said or written to designate a thing or person, for example, a gift, so much money.
A gift of so much money.
With a fund particularly referred to for its payments, so that if the fund be not the. I can't read. You're gonna just read it. I can't read it because I can't see it too good.
You would have been pretty much safe if they had applied Bouvier's definition.
So again, that would have been a law dictionary version, correct?
Yeah.
And not the common Webster's dictionary. So anyway, going back to the.
But the one you want us to look at, hang on, is let's just see. I have to stop.
So I circled the ones on there.
Okay.
So anyway, a little bit back to the story. So I found out that Pittsburgh, the locality that actually arrested me, charged me, and then convicted me in district court and superior court, had a gun show. Okay, and the real ironic thing.
Can you all see the Merriam-Webster now?
Yes. So the real ironic thing is the location. Location is everything. So the location of this particular gun show was at the Chatham County Agricultural Center, which is the government facility of Chatham County. So basically, go back to the other picture that I sent you, the one where shows the law. So the law itself says any public place owned. You had it.
Oh, I did have it?
Yes.
I didn't know I had it. I thought I had to.
But anyway, okay, so basically.
Is this what you want, Jessica?
Yes, that's it. So basically, they had a gun show at a public place owned or under the control of the state or any of its political subdivisions, meaning that it was a government facility by the same people who arrested me, convicted me, and charged me and then convicted me. So basically, they ignored the law completely, and they broke their own laws. They bent the law to basically benefit them. So in that statute, of course, everyone is wondering, all right, Charles, go back to the other one. So if you're considering it as a gun show, we're going to use the same dictionary entry that the prosecutor used. So the one in red there is a public display or group feelings towards a person or a cause. That's the one the prosecutor used to convict me in court. So I went to the same exact entry. Instead of using number 4, I actually used number 1, which says a showing of the merits of a product or service to a prospective consumer, which is a product being guns or ammo or knives or whatever other defensive devices that was sold at that particular place to obviously the purchasers being the consumers. So anyone that is walking inside that building that is carrying a firearm, either concealed or open carry, is breaking that same law that they charged me with. Anyone who purchases a firearm and leaves the facility and walks out to their car in the parking lot is also, with a gun, is also breaking that law. So how convenient that a Chatham County sheriff, which keep in mind the sheriff's department is the ones that arrested me, took my rights away, took my firearms away, and all my ammunition. And the sheriff stood there and observed all the people breaking the law and did not do anything. So I went up to the sponsor of the event and I told him that there was a law, 14277.2, North Carolina General State Statute, that everyone at that point inside that building and outside carrying their weapons to their cars was now violating this law and could be arrested at any time. So, of course, he looked at me like I had a hole in my head. So I'll go back to the same scenario about, well, the 2A community only cares about things when it only affects them directly. But what they don't understand is this law can affect all of them directly, but they do not have the common sense or the knowledge or even the willingness to learn about this law right here, because this law also talks about participation. Okay, so what does it mean to participate? It doesn't tell you what participation means. Affiliation. What does affiliation mean? That could simply sweep up anyone, even if they're not even at the event.
Jessica,
you could be down the road.
I can't help but notice that those words are not in what we're looking at here. Are those words in somewhere else?
Yeah, they're on the I can actually get the book, but you'll have to look up. Hold on, let me find it.
What's the citation? Just so anybody listening can look it up, because the participation and attendance or what was the other word? Participation, affiliation.
Okay, I have it right here, so I'm going to send it to you. Okay, hold on.
I think that this is a very interesting thing because it does seem like it's a fatal flaw. I mean, Jerry, what do you think of this? You said you've been to gun shows before. Are they dangerous convocations?
Okay, there it is.
When I go to gun shows, I usually have some campaign literature with me and pass it out and try to get them to vote for me if I'm running for an office.
In other words, you combine the two kind of demonstrations, basically.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you can combine two kinds of products. And
well, I guess they don't allow that in Virginia or in North Carolina, but
well, I mean, they would not allow Jessica to even speak to anybody. Apparently, is that correct, Jessica?
Yes, I had written a bunch of flyers, and I was going to try to give them out to all the members or basically the vendors so that they could take it back to their locations and look at the information over and maybe spread it around. But the guy clearly, when I told him that everyone there was breaking the law, like I said, he looked like I had a hole in my head, and he got kind of, defensive. And he told me that I was not allowed to pass out this information to any of the people, and that, with that being said, and that I had to move along. And so basically, I wasn't able to talk to anyone or discuss anything with anyone. But I attended, and I actually bought some ammo. So I was actually a participant in uh, buying product there, obviously. So I just wanted to finish it out. I went and got some pictures of the building and pictures of the sign outside indicating the gun show was there. And I also took pictures of social media so that if there's ever a question, here we go. And actually, in the location, let me share this with you. Um, let me see here. So at this location, it clearly says that it is a government facility. And you can't get any more clearer than this. I mean, when you basically look at this here, and of course you have to pay attention to the address because here we go. Okay, so this is the government facility that the gun show was that took place at. So it's clearly a government building, making it specifically.
Is that Visible North Carolina Cooperative Extension?
Yes, that is the address, and then I'll show you the picture of the building that I took. So there are the two pictures of the building, and it has the address clearly written on the sign.
Well, half the sign.
No, I have two pictures there.
Oh, okay. Okay,
so that's clearly saying, you know, this is obviously the location. Okay, and then I also have Facebook pages, or not Facebook. It's let me see here. So I have a post from a website, and this will actually tell you that it is at the Chatham County Agricultural and Conference Center, obviously the same as what's in the building there. And it ironically enough says all federal, state, and local firearms ordinances and laws must be obeyed. You know, I can't make this stuff up, really. So, but again,
Jerry, I asked you this before, but I want to bring it up as a question again. Do you think that in construing a law like this, the government believes that it is not bound by its own law? Is there any principle that you can think of that would exclude the government from the effect of its law to prevent it from leasing out its own space to a gun show?
Well, I think the law is prosecuted on negative attendance. I believe because Jessica believes something and she was trying to show her belief to the public in her life recently, that's the ones that they prosecute for showing up at a parade or demonstration. If she didn't have a belief, a political belief, they wouldn't have prosecuted her. I think they're prosecuting based upon her beliefs. And I think that's unconstitutional under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
You're saying that they're using an infringement on her Second Amendment rights to infringe on her First Amendment rights.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is a fairly just in terms of courses of action here, would you be interested, or do you think it's feasible to file a declaratory judgment action for discrimination about this gun show, that this gun show is a violation of equal protection because the government is picking and choosing based on possibly its own, whether it has a financial stake in it, possibly because they support gun shows, either for financial or political reasons, and oppose Jessica's speech on purely political reasons? I mean, would that be, do you believe that that would be a good constitutional suit?
I don't know. Would it be possible for us to put in newly discovered evidence in the case it's going?
I think that's going to be difficult. I mean, we can try, but I think that there's so many reasons why they're going to say no, including the fact that it's just too late to reopen it. What we'd probably have to do is we'd probably have to file it in the district court. What do they call it in North Carolina? It's not the district court. It's the district court was like the municipal court.
Yes, it's a superior court.
Superior court. We'd have to file it in the superior court, and then ask the superior court to certify the question to the Court of Appeals. I have the feeling that that would be considered the proper pathway, but the time factor is kind of against us. If we attempt to intervene and file something in the Court of Appeals, I think it's going to be very easy for them to turn us down. We can always try, but well, I think that the real way to raise, I believe it's possible that I think that the most effective way to raise this would be as a separate civil suit for declaratory judgment regarding the unconstitutionality of the statute, and to draw attention to Jessica's prosecution and her conviction in light of this, because it seems to me that the city of Pittsburgh in Chatham County is promoting what they prosecuted her for.
Yes.
Is there any argument against that? Is there any argument against that?
That sounds like a valid way to do it.
Well, and I do want to add that Pittsburgh or Chatham County, the prosecuting locality that obviously did the same, that actually did, well, they bent the law to appease their own gains. They actually rented the space out to the sponsors, the 6-shooters gun show sponsors, and there is a money passing from hand to hand. So since money is passing hand to hand, and I found out tonight because I was talking to another person who actually goes to a state fairground, and that location is also at a state-owned property, just like that law says, and people walk around there with guns on their hips all day too, in a gun show at the state fairground. So then that locality as well, because it is a state law. So I'm assuming that probably more than just those 2 locations allow gun shows at state-owned properties, or as they say, under the provision or under the subdivisions or whatever of our localities of the city or county or local governments. And so in that law, every time they do that, they're completely dismissing their laws that they are enforcing against me. So I actually wrote up something, but I'm only going to read the back page. But this is what I try to tell the guy, of course. So when a law is enforced, as it was on me, it must be uniformly done. With this being said, when a protest shows up and I'm waiting for my friends, because the way the law is written, with demonstration not defined what exactly it consists of, and is obviously void for vagueness. Technically, this event, talking about the gun show, is considered as a demonstration. State law indicates that anyone participating in, present as a spectator, or affiliated with a demonstration, not ever defining the words present as a spectator, if you would be simply walking across a parking lot and you simply look over, does that make you a spectator and breaking the law? Affiliation means that you don't even have to be on location. You simply are affiliated. You might be a mom or a dad or even a lawyer or a friend of the
Lawyer,
person.
a
Yes.
lawyer. Why are you bringing in people like that into this?
But you can be affiliated with by knowing the person that is conducting the protest and have a gun on your side or in your possession, and that makes you in violation of this law without even being present at the protest. This is the way that this stupid law was written. And so with that being said, Troy Stone, the prosecutor, said that the law, and convinced the Judge Bedar, not so honorable Judge Bedar, and the jury pool, that the law was surgical. Maybe when removing a splinter from one's big toe and merely cutting their entire leg off surgical, that would probably be about the surgical as I could get. So I continue. While on the property that is owned or controlled by the political subdivisions of that county or city, this agricultural building, which was the site of the gun show, is owned by the city and county of Pittsboro, North Carolina, and Chatham County, and it falls within this law specifically. It makes everyone here illegal because the law does not define within the bounds what is illegal and what is not. The law can simply decide within a moment's notice by their own opinions, as they did me, and not based by law because it is not written when they arrest law-abiding citizens. Is this event a demonstration? Well, I answered that already with the definition on entry number 1. Is every person who walks around with a firearm at this event breaking the law? My case is pivotal for the North Carolina concealed carry permit holders. If I lose this appeal, then that means that all North Carolina residents and visitors who possess a firearm for their protection will be subject to a law that is void for vagueness and very ambiguous. They can simply sweep you up without indicating why and make you a criminal. They can just add elements to this law that simply don't even exist. And remember, they can use a common dictionary and make stuff up and find something that fits. As they say, when they take crap and they throw it on a wall, something will stick eventually. So I said, learn more about this law and support my fight and help me get justice and support the Second Amendment, which, like I said, they have this mentality. If it's not me, I could care less. So basically, all I want is my record clean, as I've kept it my whole entire life. I want my possessions back, and I want my rights. And if you stand for the Constitution, which are the building blocks of this nation and her founding stock, then you will support this fight. So I don't understand it. I mean, again, as they say, call the kettle black. You know, when you're say, you know, little Timmy, don't you do that? But Mom, you're doing it. It doesn't matter. You can't do it. Right?
Well, I mean,
So,
is there, I mean, you know, they sometimes say that the government is to the people in the position of parens patriae, that the state has a parental function. And of course, you know, there are circumstances when parents can do something that they don't want children to do, and that children shouldn't do. And I guess that's what I'm worried about, is that is there any, is that a possible defense for the state here, that we can create exemptions to our own law anytime we want? And
well,
I think that's sort of an equal protection issue.
yes.
But I mean, classifications that are not racial or based on gender. It is said that non-suspect classifications have to be have to have a rational basis with a compelling government interest to permit discrimination based on class. Anything that the government is it legitimate for a government to discriminate between any conduct that the government specifically permits and conduct that it doesn't permit? Senator O'Neill, help us out here.
I don't think it's an argument they can succeed with.
So you don't think that they can create two classes of people, licensed people who are licensed and unlicensed licensed people?
Something like that.
Because everybody in the gun show and Jessica have in common that they both have they all have, or they're all supposed to have carry permits of one kind or another, either concealed carry permits or open carry permits, right? So it's the some licensed people are more equal than others.
Well, a lot of people can open carry in North Carolina, but even when you open carry, the law still stands as well. It doesn't say concealed or not. It just says the principle of carrying or possessing willfully and intentionally a deadly weapon or dangerous weapon. So that could be a knife, obviously, too. So anyone who has a big old buck knife on their side, they're obviously in violation of this law as well. But when it says that, I have the book over here that they actually, from UNC, that the actual law book that clearly states in there is no exemptions to any gun shows. There's no exemptions to state localities or local localities saying that, well, in this particular instance, we can just completely avoid the law. There's nothing in there. I have the whole, revised versions and everything from 2013 legislation. But it's just funny how this law has been enacted since 1981, and I'm the very first person in history to ever be convicted. So obviously, no one has ever, because it's never really had any teeth.
Well, you're not the first person to be prosecuted. You're just the first person to be convicted, because that guy from Durham, right? He was prosecuted and his conviction was thrown out, right?
No, he was in district court. He never even made it to the superior court. The judge there, Judge James Hill, said specifically that it violated the First and Second Amendment of the defendant. And so that attorney actually agreed, the judge, the Honorable Hill, said that it did infringe against First and Second Amendment rights. And so he dismissed the charges against him and several other ones who were concealed carry and also carrying semi-automatic rifles. So, again, it goes to the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. If it's good enough for this lower court, why isn't it good enough for me? And that's not all, because there were several arrests this year pertaining to this particular statute. There was, I think it was 5 or 6 African Americans that were out in the middle of destroying property and vandalism, and they were actually carrying a firearm. And a good percentage of the African Americans were not supposed to have weapons. But then an NAACP representative went in and got their charges dismissed. How ironic. And then, of course, in Asheville, North Carolina, the same issue, the fentanyl Floyd riots, several African Americans were down there vandalizing property, and several white individuals showed up with guns. And then, of course, the African Americans were dismissed of all their charges, and the 2 white guys are still facing charges right now. And then in Lexington, North Carolina, the same thing. Or no, excuse me, Salisbury, there was a white man. He was physically assaulted by black men, and he is actually still facing charges from the same statute. And there's another one, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's the same thing, just over and over and over again. But I'm the very first person to be convicted. So
that's pretty amazing. You must feel very special.
Well,
yeah, and then of course you had this guy Jordan Green, who is a journalist. He wrote this article called "Guns in Black and White," and he said that only if you are black, then you only get convicted of this crime. And I called that editor and I said, hey, I'm very white, and I was the very first person to ever be convicted of this crime. And then there was a Duke lecturer. He was actually a former federal prosecutor. He said in that article, Guns in Black and White from Jordan Green, Tri-City Beat, he said specifically, if anyone has a firearm and it is concealed and they have a license to carry, then they are legal to carry a firearm. Then I had Officer Sergeant Deshay, which is the Pittsburgh Police Department, which Pittsburgh Police and Chatham County Police are together. One does the city part, one does the county part, but they pretty much go to the same courthouse and conduct business there in the same courthouse using the same prosecutors and judges. But anyway, whatever the distinction is, maybe their uniforms or the stickers on their cars. But he said that if I had a permit to carry and it was valid, then I was legal. And so then there was another Lexington cop in Lexington, North Carolina, which is now the chief of police. He even said that if I have a permit to carry, then I'm legal. So if this law was so surgical, then how come nobody ever gets it right except for Troy Stone, the district attorney?
He's a good surgeon. It's pretty interesting. It really is. And I mean, but I think that it's also kind of interesting that the state of North Carolina has hired private counsel in this case. Can y'all see the docket that Jessica sent me today?
No, that the private counsel is not theirs. That's different.
Oh, it is. It's right here. It's thought it was.
Yeah, the person, the second party, that is actually for us. That's not Chatham. Excuse me, that's not the state attorney. So that's actually supposed to be on our side. Supposedly someone who was editing the final brief.
Oh, okay. So this John W. Moss, the Vernon Law Firm, is your lawyer?
He's affiliated with Dobson.
Oh, okay. I didn't get it because it.
And the thing is, the things that I brought up today, my attorney just simply dismissed them as not being, important. So that kind of, it really upsets me, I guess, because if he was really, I don't know. I just feel like I've been shortchanged, yeah, he wrote a good brief, but
well, but bringing this issue up is valid. I'm just not 100% sure that it can be done in this case. What's interesting is that to declare for you to sue for discriminatory prosecution is, I think, it should be free from the requirement of malicious prosecution that you should be able to file even if you have not yet been acquitted. But if you are acquitted, obviously you'll have a large if it's reversed rather on appeal, you'll have a large number of remedies. But it seems to me that even if you were not acquitted, we could raise this issue about the differential enforcement, and basically force them to take a position that the law does not apply to state licensed activities.
Well, one thing that I did do, I reached out to the legislature, and see, that's another thing, two things. Of course, the lower court, the district court, the judge, he said that the law was poorly written. He said that before he convicted me, that you're not a bad person, but I've still got to do it. Okay. Then I got with the legislature, and he said that they were going to revisit this law, but of course, retroactively, they could not help me. But that the law obviously was ambiguous, and it was too vague to really understand, that they really needed to do some major changes and an overhaul to this law. And so, of course, I reached out to him.
Technically, it's not true that they couldn't make it. They could actually pass a special private law, protecting you if they wanted to. So they could certainly make it retroactive if they wanted to. There's nothing.
Okay, well, I'll suggest that to him, because I have sent out an email today pertaining to that. I'm waiting for the reply. He's very good about replying to me. And I also sent out several messages to the office of the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson. He is obviously a pro 2A advocate. And if I'm going to get anywhere, I'm hoping that he will help me. And I'm also going to reach out to the Pittsburgh mayor-elect, Cindy Perry, to make her aware of the scenario that is taking place in her town. So whatever vines I need to swing from, I'm going to at this point, because I think that this needs to be heard, that they obviously, I'm a political prisoner in all this. They're trying to make an obvious example out of me. So I guess whoever screams the loudest at this point.
Well, what's the name of the North Carolina representative you're contacting? Is he a representative or a senator?
I'm not. I'd rather not specify at this point.
All right. I was thinking. So, I was going to say, if we could specify, we could ask anybody who knows him to try to get his attention, make sure he brings this before the entire assembly.
Well, Jerry reached out to him first, and he was very good with responding. And then I reached out to him 2 times before, of course, reaching into the Superior Court. And then he was very good about listening and replying. And he actually sent it to the other staff members to see if they could get it changed, obviously. And then I also brought out the point where the local activist, well, I shouldn't say local, because they were out of town activists, who submitted a story in the front page of the newspaper, the local newspaper in Pittsburgh, North Carolina, Chatham County News and Record, and where they put in there that I was a white supremacist, and they indicated that I had a court battle coming up. So, and then they also went to the Chatham County Agricultural Center and Conference Center where the gun show took place, and that was considered as they were actually doing voting there. So these particular individuals showed up at a polling booth and distributed flyers with my image on the paper with my name, and also there indicating that I was a white supremacist and also that I had a court battle coming up. So they literally tainted my jury pool. And obviously, they denied me a change of venue. So I was obviously not giving a fair trial.
Well, that's a separate issue, but I mean, it could, I guess, conceivably be, no, it couldn't be, as it's different parties. I was thinking it could be brought at the same time as your declaratory judgment about differential enforcement, but no, you wouldn't want to do that. You want to keep things as simple and separate as possible. So that's a case against Antifa. That would be a private action against Antifa.
Yes, and also the editor of the newspaper, that would be the guy Mark Barrow.
I didn't hear that. Mark who?
Decides, Mark Barroso decides that it's a good idea. He's actually part of it, and there's also these attorneys. I know there's a Sarah D'Amato, which I would love to put her in this lawsuit as well. Getting out there and just slandering the crap out of me constantly. It's like this woman has a fetish with me, and all those who do the Chatham Takes Action page. I mean, when you look at their Facebook page online, I mean, almost every second or third entry is about me. And saying really negative information about me and saying falsehoods. And then, of course, when you call them out about all these false accusations, all they can say, well, you're just a racist. Okay, well, prove it. They accused me of standing across an elementary school and yelling racist epithets to school children. I said, prove it. Prove it's true. Show me a video. You video everything else. Show me where it's true. Well, they wouldn't do.
I think it's pretty likely in the modern world that if you were actually doing such a thing, there would be somebody who would get you on their camera phone. I mean,
absolutely.
What are the odds that anybody could be standing by an elementary school saying something hateful and somebody wouldn't be recording?
Yeah. And there's another well, originally it was a female, but he or she is taking testosterone pills. And this is no joke. I'm not trying to be funny, okay? But she's actually taking testosterone shots, and she's had all of her stuff taken off and whatever. But anyway, she put on Twitter, and they call her Auntie Shepherd. But anyway, she went in Twitter, and also she posted on a couple articles, like journalist articles, that the whole reason that I had came to Pittsburgh with a handgun, and the whole reason that I showed up to Pittsburgh was to murder people. I mean, you just think of this like this. So have the right person see that kind of information and see me and believe what she is saying. That could get me killed or attacked. To say, and about me yelling out racist epithets to children, that could get me killed or attacked. And the police do absolutely nothing to protect me. Just like they did when I was attacked in my hometown. The police stood silent. Even when they put that on Twitter too, they put my attack on Twitter so they had bragging rights. But, that stuff doesn't matter. The police don't protect you. It is not their job to protect you. So your job is to protect you. And they have ultimately taken my rights away that I cannot, and taken my possessions away so that I cannot protect myself.
Jerry, what do you think?
Well, I think if we had it to do over again, or the attorney would have it to do over again and he listened to us, I think there's a couple things he missed in his brief. One, I believe you can go and get a special permit. Special people can get a special permit to carry at parades and demonstrations. You have to go to the local sheriff, I guess. And I don't know if you can get that. Why doesn't her Virginia permit work too? I thought a Virginia permit was good for carrying concealed anywhere, but evidently it isn't. It's a second-rate permit. You have to get a first-rate permit in order to carry a parade or demonstration. And also, I don't think he brought forth the idea that they're prosecuting based upon the content of her speech or what her beliefs are. Jessica has a history of advocating for her Southern ancestors. Now, if she had been advocating to take down the monuments, the judge would have thrown the case out. But
Well, and she actually has proof of that, because the people on the other side, their case, what was the person who the judge found that both his First and Second Amendment rights were infringed?
This is Dwayne Dixon. He was actually a UNC college professor, and there was another Eli Pryor, both of them. And gosh, it was at least 5 or 6 people, and every single one of them, their charges were dismissed. And then Dwayne Dixon was actually allowed to sue the police department for denying him his concealed carry permit, and all of his possessions was returned. And that's not all, though. Of course, Pittsboro, North Carolina is the assistant district attorney is notorious for biased prosecution. Another point being, there was a black man there, and he pulled his car. He was driving his car around the city circle, and he was pulling through a pedestrian crosswalk when several people with Confederate flags was crossing the road in front of him in the crosswalk, and he was heard audibly accelerating his vehicle into the people, and he hit the pedestrians with his car. After pulling forward, he gets out of his vehicle, pulls a firearm, which I have the police report of this, by the way, and still frames from the police video footage that doesn't exist, by the way. So he pulls his firearm out, aims it at the people he just hit with his car, and says, quote, "If there's a dent in my car, I'm going to kill you." And so, first of all, that is going to the terror of the public, assault with a deadly weapon, brandishing a weapon. And he is also, because it was people were walking around with flags and whatever, if they wanted to consider it as a protest or whatever they may want, a demonstration, he brought a firearm to that event. He was present at that event with a firearm. He should have been arrested for the same thing I was arrested for, charged and convicted, like I was charged and convicted. But instead, the assistant district attorney, Troy Stone, walked over to this man and told him that they didn't have enough evidence to prosecute him, that he would escort him out the back of the building. And so he did escort him out the back of the courthouse for his safety. And then he walked over to the people that was hit by the car and told them that they did not have enough evidence to prosecute him, that he was dismissing all the charges. So it just tells you right there that the assistant district attorney, Troy Stone, has obviously got an issue with prosecution. He selectively decides who is going to be prosecuted and who is not. And that's not all. There was several fights pertaining to the opposing sides, and there was 3 people on our side that were convicted for fighting for assault, and then on their side, they were dismissing all the charges, every one of them. One guy specifically, he strangled an elderly man, kicked him in his genitals and threw him to the ground, stole his property, and then caught it on fire right in front of him. But his charge was dismissed as well. And this same guy that did that in Pittsboro, North Carolina, that the Assistant District Attorney Troy Stone dismissed, he actually went to Raleigh and attacked a disabled man and threw his camera to the ground, and his charges were dismissed too there, along with Tim Osborne, which also assaulted people in Pittsboro and also in Raleigh and Durham. So it seems like in this whole area, there's obviously a lot of biased prosecution going on, and I think that this needs to be seen. It needs to be heard. People need to listen to this kind of thing.
Jerry?
Yeah, I think probably need some more fighting. I don't know if we come up with a filing fee, maybe we need to take it to federal court.
I think Jessica just has an amazing amount of situations. And I mean, the First and Second Amendment are undoubtedly designed to protect people with unpopular views, precisely because it is the natural. I mean, this is a problem. I mean, but this is a problem of sort of moral integrity that has plagued humanity ever since the Garden of Eden. People with power, like Troy Stone, are going to favor the people they agree with and disfavor the people they don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I think the founders were focused on when they passed those first two amendments, is that the people who are on the losing end of a political argument at any given moment need the protection, because what's a losing argument today might be a winning argument tomorrow. And if people aren't permitted to continue to speak and to continue to protect themselves and express themselves, all, dare I use the word, diversity of viewpoints will be gone. There will only be one party line. And
well, just like in the scenario with the gun show, Chatham County has a financial gain by allowing a gun show to rent the space of the government building. With me, there is no financial gain, so that's why they must make an example out of me. But UNC is moving into Pittsboro, and they must diversify the county and the city to bring in all these UNC buildings and establishments and businesses from UNC. Basically, UNC is expanding all the way down 501. So that monument had to go in order to bring UNC's business into Pittsboro, North Carolina. That courthouse, the old historical courthouse, has to go, and it will go eventually, because 501 is.
We lost you, Jessica.
All the way down from.
Can you repeat what you just said, because we lost you? Your sound went off.
But anyway, the UNC is coming straight down from Raleigh and Durham and all that, straight down 501. So the historical courthouse where the Confederate monument used to sit has to be taken down too. It will be taken down eventually. I see that in the future. I've been saying it from day one, because the historical value of the town is gone. There will be a 4-lane highway. 501 will lead all the way through town eventually. And that's what their financial goal, they have a financial interest in the monument leaving and UNC moving into town. And because I was fighting to try to keep the monument, I guess, for the Daughters of the Confederacy and any of the organizations, and I showed interest in that monument at all, then I became the enemy against Chatham County's financial institutions moving into town. So whenever it benefits Pittsboro and Chatham County, the ADA, Tory Stone, and all the Chathamites that are down there, they will rally and they will overturn any law, bend it and shape it and form it whichever way necessary to make sure that they make an example out of people like me and that they can just do whatever they want to do.
Well, Jessica, you've been a white devil since you were 13, haven't you?
What can I say?
Once a white devil, always a white devil. Sitting
What?
there in front of your St. Andrew's Cross devil flag.
Oh, God.
Kind of ironic, isn't it? Yeah.
I know.
The season of Advent starts the church year with the feast of St. Andrew, very first holiday of the year, very first Saint's Day of the year, and
Yeah.
there you are, doing your devilish work.
What can I say?
Well,
Okay.
Jerry.
I don't know. I think I've got to go, but anyhow, I think that I'd be willing to work on it without getting any upfront money, but I don't have the money to pay for the filing fee to go to federal court. And maybe somebody who sees this video might be willing to finance the filing fee. But
Well, eventually I'm going to have to start doing what NPR and PBS do and start asking for contributions to the American Legal Defense Fund every single night. But my marketing specialist tells me to get up to a certain number of subscribers before I do that. So let's just keep doing these shows for the moment and see if we can build a support group and an audience.
yes, but if somebody sees it that does want to send some money, you have an address they could send it to?
Jessica, are you set up right now? Because I guess I am. I am actually set up. The ALDF is set up to receive cash apps.
What address?
Are you set up also?
Yes. Hold on. Let me send it to you. Give me a second. Let me find it.
Someone's growling. Someone doesn't want you to be soliciting money.
Who's growling?
Tell them that overhead can include dog food.
Sometimes it does.
You have dog food over your head? What?
If the dogs ain't happy, then I ain't happy.
Oh my God. Jerry, do you have a place where you can receive contributions?
You can send it to my house.
Well, you want to share your address?
985.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that. Don't put it
He's
online.
already you don't understand, Jessica. He's already a public figure.
Well, Jessica has an address.
Okay, here is the Cash App. So yeah, I just wouldn't want anybody to. Do you see it, Charles?
Where'd you send it to me?
Telegram, of course.
All of my Telegram things were wiggling. That was weird.
Do what?
All of my Telegram icons were wiggling. That was very bizarre.
They're wiggling.
I've never seen them do that before.
What are they on crack?
God. Hang on. I'm going to share this right now. Screen share. Yes. Okay. There it goes. Okay.
So you can either scan it or do the Jessica Revis thing at the bottom. Make sure you do the capital letters right without a space. But yeah, I mean that would be great. You can send money there, of course, and maybe we can get this beat, because whatever happens in North Carolina, it does not stay in North Carolina, by the way. Regardless of what people may say, what happens in this whole situation will certainly define North Carolina's gun laws. It basically gives the police the right to change and manipulate laws to their fitting, basically. So us as U.S. citizens, we need to take control of this before this becomes an issue. We can't sit around and wait until wait till it affects someone personally before we actually perk our ears up and start paying attention.
Well, on that note, Jessica, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your story of the six shooter gun show.
Yeah.
And how you not only were they discriminating on your Second Amendment rights, but also your First Amendment rights.
I mean, I got to say, before anybody starts to conclusions, okay, trust me, I love my guns, okay? So I love gun shows more than anybody, right? So it's not against the Second Amendment, and it's not against gun shows, because I go to gun shows all the time. And when I go to gun shows, in Virginia, and I always carry a firearm in the gun shows, usually without the magazine and the well, and usually a tie inside the gun. But this is not to deter the localities from having gun shows. This instead is to bring an awareness that if the police get pissed off at you and you are in one of these facilities with a gun and they know, then they can arrest you at any time. So just understand how they can use these ambiguous laws against all of us. And we must put a stop to these laws before you become what I have become, a victim.
The hypocrisy of the law in the United States is hard to overstate and overestimate.
Right.
Law is used pretty much arbitrarily and capriciously everywhere. Do you agree with that, Jerry?
I agree with that, yes.
Well, Jerry O'Neill, thank you very much for joining us. Jessica, thank you. And we will do this again. And Merry Christmas to everybody who's watching, and stay free. That's the best.
Hell Dixie.
Deo Vindique. Stay free and Deo Vindique for 2022.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.